I am unmuted now. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Master and Drum Whiskey Room. It is a beautiful Whiskey Wednesday night. Not only is it a beautiful Whiskey Wednesday night, but it's cold outside. It's very cold. So chilly enough that I'm glad to be inside drinking some whiskey with all you beautiful people. So what is going on, everybody? We have a great show tonight. Not only are we going through some brand new samples, some brand new bottles as well, but we'll also be doing week 5 of Blendageddon, a very big week 5 with 6 samples this week because some of the, just the brackets ended up uneven. So we have a 6 sample blend tonight with a new judge that has never been on the Master and Drum Whiskey Room. So we'll welcome that person onto the blind tasting for Blendageddon week 5 as we get into it a little bit later. But first and foremost, yeah, I was hoping you're going to insert our voiceovers. Yeah, no, JG, not doing that. Yes, it is cold. And again, before we get started, I know, we get it said all the time, but, thoughts and prayers to everybody out in California that's struggling to get through all the wildfires and, just the coverage has just been insane, and seeing the devastation is just heartbreaking. So if you're in California, I hope you and your family are safe. And if you're not in California, then please do what you can. And with that in mind, I will make a little bit of an announcement later once we get into Blendageddon, once everybody's here. But in the meantime, I do want to just, send my thoughts to everybody. So real quick, let's say hi to some folks in the chat. We got JG is here. Randall Erickson is in the house. We got Nathan Jurgensen. He's got the Russell Reserve 15 in the Glen. EJ is here. Dustin Klosterhoff is here. New Riff Balboa Rye for me. Let's see. Randall Erickson is here. Sandeep Chima. What's going on, Sandeep? The Bourbon Coach. Yes, we're going to get into some Limestone Farms. A cool distillery out in Georgetown, Kentucky. We're going to go through some of the samples that they sent. They were highly touting their products. So we're going to go through them, give them a nice, honest review, see how they are. Joey B is here. What's up, Joey B? We got Loch Ness is here. What's going on, Loch Ness? Nice to see you, man. Scott Risden is here. We got Warren Smith. Bourbon Kingdom's back here in the house. What's going on, Bourbon Kingdom? Hope you guys are doing well. Top Jimmy is here. We got Truman. Mike Daly is here. Happy Wednesday. That's me. Dr. Sped. So far, after all these years, he has not gotten COVID. But after 5 years, the COVID finally got him. Feel better, Dr. Sped. Hope you're doing all right, man. Top Jimmy, congrats on 95K. Yes, the channel just hit 95,000 subs, guys. 5,000 more subs away from the big milestone. Oh, and we are going to celebrate. So, yeah, we have some fun videos coming up that'll hopefully get me there sooner than later. So, yeah, keep tuning in for that. Ed Williams is here. What's going on, Big Ed? Nice to see you, man. Roger Reese is here. Stephen Walt put in for the Bardstown Green River pick today. Fingers crossed. Good luck, Stephen. Kenneth Clark. Let's see. Josh Fritz. What's up, Fritzy? Larry 3R. Michael Speakerman. You deserve to be a 200K. Well, maybe we'll get there too one day. We'll see. Jason Pruitt is here. Dustin Pichelle. Jay Porter. John Legalbo. The Bourbon Jerk is here. What's up, Tom? Guys, give Tom at the Bourbon Jerk a subscribe. Great channel. Roscoe P. Coltrane. Patrick Grelick is here. A Cold Day in Michigan. A Warm Spirit in the Glen. And I'm just going to kind of scroll down to the end here because I have to catch up because I'm a little behind because of the delay. So there we go. Landlord is here. What are we tasting so far, says Paul Bell. What is that? Paul Bellinardo. What's going on, man? So, we got Tommy D in the house. What's up, Tommy? Taking 1 to 2 months away from drinking, so enjoying vicariously a bit. A lot of people are kind of doing that, and I think that's always a good thing. Kind of take a little bit of a break. I try to take my big breaks, when I can. In between, the hardest week for me is the end of the year when it's just like blind tasting after blind tasting. It's like awful. It's like awesome but terrible at the same time because you're just tasting so many great whiskeys. But when you're trying to do that like 2 or 3 days in a row because you're trying to get your top video, top whiskeys of the year done, it can be kind of taxing. So, I don't think I drank anything for like 4 days after that. So, yep. Mark, Michaela, what's everyone drinking? Full Proof Hunters here. Got hard member. Norman Conklin says, keep it going. Lucas Oppaneer, congrats on 95K subs. Well deserved. Your content is like whiskey gospel. Go get that 100,000. We're going to get there, man. Picked up 2 Penelope Havana. What a hump day. Yeah, Joe Sanchez, I think I have one arriving on Friday from Penelope, a little sample bottle. So you will see a video soon for that. All right. So speaking of how amazing you guys are, the viewers, remember our conversation last week? I was talking about those Entenmann's cookies and how I couldn't find them. So Darren Clary, if you're in the chat, and I'm sorry if I missed you because I was kind of flying through the chat. He sent me 3 boxes of these things. These are the cookies, guys. These are the famous Entenmann's little cookies. I'm going to show you. This is why they're so dangerously evil. Look at the size of them. They're like these little, look like next to a Glen. They're like these little perfect. It's now the cookie cam. It's like these little perfect bite-sized cookies that are just so delicious. You could crush these in like one sitting. Oh my God. I've been trying to hold back on eating this entire box. But I got to tell you, man, when I first opened it, I was straight up like this. Snack time! I was so excited. I went full Cookie Monster on these things. So I still can't believe I haven't even finished a box yet. But luckily it's New Year's and I'm like starting to like really get into working out again and getting back to my jacked status. So I'm really sore right now. My chest, my shoulders, everything just hurts. So yeah, I'm trying to use these as a special treat after I, get my workout in. So, but thank you to Darren Clary. I appreciate it. Looks like they got smaller. They might have gotten smaller. Yeah, look at the crumbs on that thing. Dude, it's so good. They're so good. Crypto Whiskey says, I got my girlfriend hooked on them. Did you really? Oh my God. How did they get? You're an asshole, Whiskey Nose. Whiskey Nose, is that a new logo? Just checking that out, Whiskey Nose. What is that? Look at Marty with the new logo. Damn, Marty. Nice. I like the black, red, and yellow combination. Nice. I mean, very cool. You're close to the McDonald's colors, but okay, I'll give it to you. That little window in the box tells you it's going to be good. Yeah, exactly. Maureen Franchi, cheers to 95K. Here comes 100K. Maureen Franchi, thank you so much. Fancy Franchi in the house. Nice to see you as always. Does he floor cookies? Does he floor? Right now, the cookies are on the floor, but they are not going to stay on the floor. They are coming up with me later. All right, so this is what we got in the Glen tonight to kick it off. We got the Sagamore triple cask. A lot of people have been asking me to try this one, guys, especially live. So yeah, let's dive into it. What makes this one so special is triple cask finish. It's exactly what it means. You have 3 beautiful finishes on here. Vino de Naranja, which is one of my favorite finishes that Sagamore does. We did a single cask of that actually 2 years ago now. Sauternes and Oloroso sherry casks. So those are your 3 finishes. So cheers to you guys. And yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, I mean, it's such a fruit bomb because of all those different finishes on it. I gotta say, I feel like I don't know. Sauternes to me can be very delicate. It's kind of a delicate little bit of a finish, but in this one, I feel like I'm getting because Sauternes really imparts a nice sweetness. However, sherry gives you those dark chocolate raisin combination, and then you have the Vino de Naranja, which is like just a nice like orange liqueur type of. And I feel like orange liqueur, rye whiskey, they work so well together. As far as proof point goes, I'm gonna have to get my damn readers out for this shit. Looks like it says 112.8 proof. So 112.8, nice proof point. Cheers, guys. Welcome in. Here we go. Yeah, that's ridiculously crushable. Even at 112, and it being a rye, this thing is like drinking velvet. Yeah, Sagamore is so good, Benjamin. Yeah, four leaf whiskey, great point. So turns can get a little floral, especially when it's a Irish whiskey or Scotch. Definitely get a good floral component on sauternes. But in this one, I don't think you really get that because of the other two finishes that are on here. Yeah, it's crazy dark. I mean, look at the color of that thing. It's a nice dark color. Gotta love it. Hey, what's up, Top Dog? Oh my god, this is so good. The only thing it's lacking is kind of a nice spicy finish, but I will say I don't really. I mean, yeah, you always need a finish. I'm not going to say it doesn't need it, but the front of the palate and the mid palate is so. It's just so like rich. I feel like it. Not that you don't need it, but it kind of makes up for it a little bit because there's so much flavor on the front and mid palate. William Wiley, is there an age statement on it? I don't believe so. No age statement, but I mean, typically their finished stuff is 7, 8, maybe even 9 years. So I would say it's probably right in that range. Oh, Kenneth Rathburn, that in a Boulevard Deer, yeah, or just a Manhattan, dude. That thing is ridiculous. This is candy in a bottle. I would highly recommend this triple cask finish if you like finished ryes. Finished ryes can be a little weird to some people, but this one, man, I'm digging that. I don't like a lot of finishes usually. When you kind of combine them, but this one works. Nothing's overpowering. I feel like the more I drink it, the more like that orange chocolate note comes out. Maybe like a combo of the sherry and the Vino de Naranjas coming through. Ed Williams, yeah, for sure. This would definitely be a good cigar whiskey. But I don't know if I would recommend smoking a really super strong cigar with this because this is pretty delicate. Even though the finish flavors are great, I feel like you want to get a cigar that's not super bold where it's going to overpower the whiskey. You just need something. I wouldn't say something as light as a Connecticut, but something kind of medium that could complement this and also bring out the flavors in the cigar. Yeah, that's good. All right. I don't know if I think Connecticut might be too light, but I would have to test that theory. Speaking of finished ryes, I'm going to get into this one. So this is actually from Middle West, and I have not cracked this yet. So Middle West Spirits, the last time I was there, got this bottle of, now we talked about the Middle West Vino de Naranja finish that they did, which was a blend of bourbon and rye. Now, that was a Burai, not a typical finished rye, but a Burai blend. And so is this. This is a blend of their soft winter wheat bourbon and their dark pumpernickel rye, but this is finished in Calvados casks. 5 years old. It is double barrel matured, cask strength at 123.8. So I've been wanting to really taste this one. I figured because I love the Murray Hill Club one so much. I realized that was a bourbon, but this being a Burai blend with a finish on it, let's try it. Let's get crazy. Christian Mangula, Jason C, the man himself. What's up, Christian? Nice to see you. Vino is the word of the day. Yeah. From one dark boy to another. Yeah, we're going to check this one out. So again, Calvados is that apple liqueur. Usually a pretty high quality apple liqueur. Yeah, check this one out. That's the label, guys. Middle West Spirits. There you go. Cask strength, 5 years, age statement. And again, 5 years, I believe, is the youngest whiskey in the blend. 123.8 proof. Again, double barrel Calvados cask of Burai. All right, let's dive into this one. And I'm kind of moving quick here, guys, so forgive me for that. But, I have a lot I want to get to tonight. Plus, we have that 6 sample Blendageddon thing to go through. as well. So, by the way, Sag is a blend of 8 and 9 year. Oh, it's a blend of 8 and 9. So there you go. What I say, 7, 8, 9, blend of 8 and 9. It's not a liqueur. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a brandy. That's right. Calvados is a brandy technically. Top Jimmy with the 7-month re-up. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Smash the like button. Yes, guys, while everyone's hanging out, hit the like button while you're here. Have 312 people hanging out in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Is the Sagamore Triple Cask their own distillate? I don't think that one is. However, all their newer stuff that's coming out is starting to have all their own distillate. So very excited for what Sagamore is bringing to the table. Actually, real quick, do I have it here? So this was a sample of Sagamore's first Sagamore rye that was from their Sagamore farm, grown grain to glass. So actually, let's give this a try real quick. So this is their own distillate, and this is what we're seeing in the market now. Very exciting times for Sagamore. Yeah, and this has that floral, minty, spicy. Man, just a touch of sweet, just like the slightest touch of like a toffee caramel here too. That's nice. Ken Davis, new subscriber, first live stream, great channel for whiskey history and honest, straightforward opinions. Thank you so much, Ken. Yeah, this was coming out as pennies proof, and they were kind of distillery only releases. People were waiting online to try it, and now that it's aged up enough, here it is. So this one happens to be 93 proof. Yeah, that's all it says. 93 proof. It's a fantastic rye. It's that beautiful blend of high rye, low rye. Well, actually, is it? I don't have to go back and look at the press release exactly what it is. I would imagine they're still using that blend to create their product. That's really been kind of their trademark, but this is really good. It's just got enough sweetness. It's not an in-your-face rye like a 95.5. Where it's overly, I guess maybe overly spicy, a little overly floral, even, getting to the point where sometimes you get that little bit of a, that little bit of a licorice note, that dill. You don't really get that here. This is just some sweet mixed with some great spice. Again, floral, mint. It's actually pretty fruit forward the more you sip it. Like you get into a little bit of an apricot note there, like a bright maraschino cherry, not a dark cherry, but there is some fruit flavors here that I'm picking up. And now honey is coming to the forefront. So much honey. That's a beautiful whiskey. Great rye whiskey. Like something like that is universal. You can use that in old fashions, Manhattans, Boulevardiers, whatever you like to drink. My favorite drink right now is a black Manhattan, which is my favorite. Ed Williams with a 27-month re-up. Good luck to the Blendageddon contestants tonight. Thank you so much. They didn't do pennies proof this year because their own distillate is old enough for their core releases starting with the bottom bond this year. That's right, Michael. Cheers, man. Thanks for checking out and sharing. Yeah, this is really good. All right. Let's go to the Middle West here. So the Middle West smells nothing like the Murray Hill Club. If people are kind of wondering if it smells close to that, it's not. Remember, the Murray Hill Club you're looking at whiskeys up to, what was it, 18 to 30 years old or something like that? Or I'm sorry, 18 years to, was it like 8 8 to 20 years. I forgot it was an older range of whiskeys. Now, again, we don't know those proportions in the Calvados one. Special release. Oh, this thing is so good. Did anybody actually go try to seek this out again? See if they could find any? I'm curious. Wow, the Calvados is it's a very bright apple. I think the wheat with the apple gives it this very, very bright, almost bite into a fresh apple type of flavor that it has. That's crazy. Gerard Wright, who has the best whiskey in Ohio? I mean, if you're talking about grain to glass, I mean, it's hard to beat Middle West right now. Middle West is just putting out some great products. But I think High Bank has been killing it with their blends. I mean, they're winning awards left and right. Even their finished whiskeys. I think Adam over there is doing an unbelievable job. You know what? I haven't tasted Watershed in a little while. I'm gonna have to go back and see how that brand is evolving. See what they're doing. I did try their cask strength release from late last year, which was pretty good stuff. It was definitely promising. Watershed to me has had a lot of ups and downs. Wasn't crazy about them in the beginning. Then, they got way better once they kind of switched that mash bill over. They got rid of the spelt in the mash bill. They just went to more traditional mash bill. And as soon as that stuff started aging up and those single barrels came out, it was definitely getting a lot better. But I haven't had their other stuff in a little bit. Eight year and 17 year. There you go, Kenneth. So that was close. Master and Drum, what is your preferred Amaro for the Black Manhattan? Honestly, Jason, I don't even know, dude. Just there's a few select bars here in Columbus that I like to go to that just make an incredible Black Manhattan. The best Black Manhattan I've ever had is at the Michter's Bar in Louisville on Whiskey Row. That Black Manhattan is insane. And I do want to thank Gary Franchi for telling me to order it. The last time I was there, he's like, just get it. It's really good. It's made with I think it's made with their Michter's barrel strength toasted whiskey, the toasted rye, I think, if I remember correctly. If Gary, if you're in the chat, try to remind me of if that's what it is. Amaro Nonino, supposedly, yeah, is kind of like the high tier Amaro. But yeah, dude, that's so good. Have you been to Opa? Says Gerard, right? Yeah, I've been to Opa, and I was just over at the kind of the grand reopening of Prohibition. So now Opa ownership is now over the Prohibition ownership here in Powell, and Genty, who runs Opa, is now running Prohibition in Powell, and I think that place is gonna they're gonna start getting all of Genty's like crazy good barrel picks and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. If you guys are local to Columbus, Ohio, Powell, go check out Prohibition Bar. It was great. The selection's good, but it's growing. They're gonna keep bringing in more of his single barrel, so it's gonna be really cool. Hey Jason, what are you sipping on right now? I'm sipping on this Middle West Napoleon Calvados cask finished whiskey. And I got to tell you, the first sip had me a little like, but now it's opening up nicely. It's literally biting into a fresh caramel apple. It's got some good rye spice in it. This isn't the dark, rich, dense flavors that we see in the Joseph Magnus. I'm sorry, I keep saying Joseph Magnus, the Murray Hill Club. It's brighter. It's a little bit more of a cinnamony red apple peel type of vibe that it's got, which is really good. It's got a little bit of the spice from the pumpernickel, and I feel like that wheated whiskey vibe that's in it too is kind of at the forefront because it's a little bit bright. to go along with that apple. But I feel like the rye finish along with that bright apple like caramel note is on the back end of this one. This is a nice whiskey. I still think I like the Vino de Naranja better than this one. But if you like Calvados, you like those apple notes, this is maybe one to try, take a look at. The Bourbon Coach is here. Congratulations on hitting 95K, onward to 100. Can't wait for you to crack those LF samples. Yeah, we're about to get into those now. So thanks for the reminder. Actually, really quick before that, I do have to crack open this. I did not know I was even getting this. So this is exciting. Speaking of High Bank, so here in Columbus, a lot of people are probably used to the Whiskey War brand from High Bank here in Columbus, Ohio. They have the double oak, the double oaked, the Whiskey War green label, barrel proof, blended whiskey, high rye blended whiskey has been winning all sorts of awards. But High Bank has finally hit with their 6-year bourbon. This is their own stuff, distilled at High Bank. They waited 6 years to release this. And I'm really excited for Adam and the team over there. This is pretty cool. High Bank Distillery Bourbon. Maureen says, yes, it is the toasted barrel. Yeah, it's so good. So real quick, I think is the probably not making all sorts of noise. So I did get the papers here. Anybody know what movie that's from? The Papers, get the papers, get the papers. The High Bank small batch bourbon. Batch 1 release. This is the first batch that will be released to the public at 3 retail stores, Grandview, Gahanna, and Westerville on Friday, January 24th at 11 a.m. This batch will also be available in select Ohio stores starting early February. It's been aging for 6 years, and it's their own distillate. Price on this one will be $45. So great price point from High Bank as well. 93 proof, and this is a blended wheated mash bill of their own distillate. So it's a wheated bourbon. So let's give it a try. There you go. Good fellas, Ricardo. You nailed it. All right. Oh, Jeff Winbush called it out too. Good job, guys. All right. Let's get into this here a little bit. All right. So this is the weeder. Let this open up a little bit, guys. Let's see here. So cheers, everyone tuning in from cold ass Boston tonight. Work, travel. Great movie, Goodfellas. Yeah, I love Goodfellas. I could watch that every time that movie's on. I could watch it. It's one of those. It's just one of those movies. It's like that movie, Tommy Boy, Anchorman, The Godfather, especially Part 2. Like whenever those are on, I could just sit there and watch it. All right, let's get into this one. Smells like a weeder. It kind of has like that fresh cut wood note, like the little bit of like fresh sawn wood a little bit. So that's the thing that's tricky with weeders, man. They get a little bit young on the young side. And, you know, that youthful character can come through here. The Whiskey Habit watches The Notebook. Yeah, I mean, it's on the young side. You could definitely taste it. I think that fresh cut wood note is definitely at the forefront. A little bit of a chocolate hit there, right on the back end, which is kind of nice. Again, a little bit of a lower proof. This isn't gonna, go crazy, on the palate. But I'm looking for those weeded, like bright fruit, those bright fruit notes. It drinks like a weeder. This thing is so smooth. And I hate to use that word smooth, but that's what it is. It's just really, really easy sipping. So, man. Yeah, I mean, the weeded youthfulness is there for me, especially in the front of the palate. Now, I'm a little bit sensitive to that. I'm not sure how other people will react to it, but there is these little like pops of like chocolate and is that like a little what is that? Yeah, it's got a little grassiness there too. Yeah, this is one of those weeded whiskey. This is one of those weeded bourbons that I think, for me, this would be a cocktail weeder. I don't know if I would drink this straight, if I'm being honest. But I do would like to, I feel like, man, a couple more years, this could actually really be something really good. Right now, to me, it's like right on the cusp. I still get that fresh cut wood note there. It's almost a little bit, it's like a soapy type of note that I'm picking up in the front of the palate too. But then all of a sudden it's weird because then like the mid palate goes and it like smooths out. Then you get a little bit of like a bittersweet chocolate note right on the back end, and then into this really really easy finish. So yeah, we'll see how these batches evolve over time. But anytime any distillery kind of releases their own distillate, it's a big deal. So yeah, congrats to High Bank. We'll see where this goes. I don't think it's cilantro. I don't think it's a cilantro note. Good evening, all, Jason. Congrats to 95K. Love your content. We'll continue support from Ajax, Ontario. What's up, Rose Sanker? Sipping on Canadian Club 18-year rye. There you go. It's got a little wang to it. A little wang. Yeah. All right, guys, real quick. There are some samples here I do want to get to because I've been holding on to these for a little bit. And honestly, we're just going to kind of introduce ourselves to I'm going to kind of introduce you and myself to a new distillery, or a distillery that's probably been around a little bit, but I haven't really gotten a chance to try their stuff. So this is Limestone Farms. Let me get the samples here. We got a few here. I think there's a Bloodlines in here too, so I'll keep that one aside. I'm just going to do these four, and we're going to try these. And basically, let's see here. So a little bit about LF Heritage Distilling. So it's Limestone Heritage Distilling Company. They are a family farm in Georgetown, Kentucky, one of a kind distillery set to become a premier destination for enthusiasts and newcomers who enjoy a more personalized experience. Our rich heritage of craft through engaging tours, explore our thoughtfully curated gift shop, and unwind our inviting bar and lounge. Okay, so they are in Georgetown, Kentucky, if anybody wants to go check them out. Now, as far as the whiskeys here, let me see the notes here that I was sent. It's a castle farm that dates back to the late 1800s in Georgetown, Kentucky. The Dillows, it's a family name, along with brothers Tim and Greg Couch, yes, Hall of Fame NFL quarterback Tim Couch, are joined by Bobby Sturgeon. LF Heritage Distilling Limestone Farm has been featured on the Bourbon Road podcast and was this year's title sponsor for Bourbon on the Banks on October 5th of 2024. In the coming months, Limestone Farms will be the second largest pot still distillery in the United States, with 4 2,500-gallon pot stills, right behind Woodford. Interesting. By 2027, they're going to have a hotel on site, a 4,000-seat amphitheater, and housing. The investors are sparing no expense. We currently make blended bourbon using only Kentucky juice. Our Bloodlines is what we consider our daily drinker and our least expensive expression. We consider our private stock to be the ultra premium category, and we will put it against anything in the market that you could find on shelves. There you go. Let me see what this is. This is a PDF, I think, of possibly their brands here. Oh, okay, perfect. So I can totally just go off of this. All right, so the first thing we're going to try here is their select batch, which is the white label. Select. So this was the first one in the little PowerPoint I got. So we're going to try this first, and I'll give you guys the stats here in a bit. Always excited to try new brands, see what's out there. Because you never know. You never know what the next gem is going to be. Pursuit United Double Oaked Rye with the West Tampa Red Robusto. Great pairing. Oh, damn, Peter. By the way, we have my group has a Pursuit United Double Oaked Rye that's going to be hitting real soon. It's ready at Sealbox, just making up some stickers. So that actually might be our next release for any of you Mash and Journey members that are watching. Really, really excited about that. So, okay. So stats on this one, guys. We have this is 110. So this will range 110 to 113 proof. This one's 111 proof. So right there in the middle. Mash bill 78% corn, 13% rye, 9% malted barley. American white oak entry proof of 115. I like that. It's an age, the blend of 6 to 9 year old barrels. So there you go. SRP for this one is $99.99. So all right, let's dive into this one. See what we get. I'm always like curious if you're gonna like pick up those pot still notes, you know. Jason, have you heard Brown-Forman letting 600 people go? Courtesy Whiskey Encore. Yes. So this story dropped. Just saw this yesterday. Brown-Forman is releasing or letting about 600 people go. Basically, their Louisville barrel production facility is letting go 600 people. I'm not sure if that's all the barrel production facility or if it's mixed with other folks across the enterprise. But again, it just goes to show you where whiskey is right now. Whiskey, unfortunately, is at a point where people have filled their closets, stocked their shelves. People aren't paying the prices for those premium whiskeys anymore. And I think what's happening is that I think the distillers, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I still feel like the distillers are thinking that everybody still wants to pay, like the more LEs we put out, the better. And I'm just not sure if that's the way to go. We'll see how 2025 goes. Again, guys, I've been saying this for weeks. I'm not going to bore you with it again, but when you have NGP cutting back, Brown-Forman letting folks go, Waterford whiskey up in Ireland, kind of, having to shut its doors and looking for investors to kind of reinvigorate that distillery, get it back on the map. Again, I don't think Waterford was so much bad whiskey as it was a bad marketing strategy. I just think it geared so much towards the whiskey geek. They never really had a shelfer that was available in stores for people to get access to Waterford and just kind of try their stuff. And their stuff was a premium price too. So there was a lot of stuff I think that happened there. But you look at brands like Stoli, and we've talked about Stoli and them, losing Kentucky Owl. There's so many different craft distillers closing their doors now just because there's so much whiskey. So many people got in the game. Again, this is reminding us of the whole beer craze, the craft beer. How many craft beer breweries closed its doors once everybody got into the beer game? It's kind of the same thing. They see something popular, starts making a shit ton of money. People jump in on it. They want to, what you have to do is make good products, tell us what's in it, be transparent, and make it affordable. If you have a premium whiskey, you got to make sure that thing is head and shoulders above anything else you have on the shelf. And I keep saying it. And until that happens, it's really hard to tell where the whiskey market's going to go. Because again, like I mentioned last week with the predictions and everything else, whiskey's at a point where the younger drinkers are not really drinking whiskey. It's like we're back in the 80s now where they don't want to drink what their grandpa was drinking. They're moving on to other things. And a lot of those other things are non-alcoholic options. So what's left? The core drinkers, the whiskey drinkers, the whiskey geeks. Are we enough to sustain the big brands? Probably. Are we enough to sustain the craft brands? It depends on how those craft brands market within those specific areas around them. If they really just, go hard in marketing to all their surrounding people, drink local, drink craft, this is what we have, this is what we're offering up, it could be sustainable. But if your core option is a craft whiskey and you're trying to fit against one of these bigger brands on the shelf and their whiskeys are 30 to 40% cheaper than what what you're able to price it at, in today's market right now, the way things are going, you're going to lose. It's just the way it goes, man. Life's realities will drag them into hard liquor eventually. Yeah, I mean, you never know. Again, ebbs and flows. Every business has ebbs and flows. So, but I will say there is so much whiskey aging right now. We're going to have I'm telling you, like 5-6 years, there's going to be so much like 9, 10, 11, 12 years shit on the market. It's going to be insane. Where is it all going to go? Is it going to flip back to what it was, 6, 7, 8 years ago when everybody was getting back into whiskey? Don't know. All right, so the nose on this is actually pretty fantastic. It's very sweet. I do get a little bit of like a bready character, I think, from the maybe from the pot still. Let me make sure that this is actually pot still here. Yep. Okay. Okay, yeah. So yeah, pot still whiskeys, I normally get a lot of like butter, apple, pear. I feel like I'm getting that here too a little bit. Let's give it a try. That's actually really nice. I think the palate on this is actually the best part of it. It's extremely velvety, coats the palate. Again, that pot still, what pot still does gives you is a beautiful texture of a whiskey, and I think that definitely brings it here. But again, kind of apple, cinnamon, pear, all coming together. Let's see. But Jason, you're going to drop your own brand and it's going to be 100 plus for a bottle. Aren't you jumping into the pool when the water is draining? Says Jeff Winbush. That's true. But Jeff, you have to understand, I'm not competing with bottles that are on the shelf. I'm strictly making a very small batch product that's geared towards my viewers and my Patreon members. So you kind of have to think of it kind of like Pursuit United. You got to look at like what Pursuit United did, like in the beginning before they started Pursuit United, before when they were just doing kind of their own barrels and kind of selling those to their viewers and their listeners, I should say. Very similar. Now the Bourbon Junkies, what they did was really smart. They started a brand. They're releasing some great barrels at a really competitive price, but again, the YouTube platform really helps because it gives us built-in sales. If your palate has been lining up with our palate, their palate, my palate, whoever palate for the last several years, you could probably trust those whiskeys. And I feel like in my mind, I know what people are going to want to drink and what they're going to like. So I'm hoping to create that. I mean, these aren't going to be big, giant releases, but I feel like for me, my blends will be for whiskey nerds, and that's what I'm looking forward to crafting. And again, I'm also not bringing out 4, 5, 6, 7 releases a month. For me, it's going to be maybe 4 to 5 a year. It's going to be very small, very kind of a more of a an intricate timetable where I get to blend, I get to finish some whiskeys and do some interesting things in between. So for me, I think I'm doing it the right way. If I had plans to go to the market with a bottle of my own, I might be like just completely just pulling back right now and just be like, we're not doing this. So yeah. This is really nice. This is really nice. I actually just got a little bit of it's not nectarine. It might be a little hint of a peach in there. But again, all those like fruit flavors, apple, pear, peach, all is in this glass. Really, really, really nice mouthfeel too. I think that's my favorite part of it. I think the texture of it. That's a nice whiskey. All right, let's go to the next one. And this one we're going to try is the small batch. So the small batch entry is... So wait, what was this one then? Oh, this is the select batch. So this is a specific select batch. This is the small batch. Now, usually small batches are built for consistency. So this one is 111.7 proof. These will range as well. 78 corn, 13 rye, 9% malted barley, American white oak, entry proof 115. Age for this 9 years. Price on this one, $139.99. So we're getting into a little bit more of a upper echelon of price here. And you can get anything right now. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, The water is draining, but not everything goes through the drain. Some whiskeys sell out every year and would be more supplied. Yeah, I think they will. There will still be brands where stuff's going to sell out no matter what, like a Buffalo Trace, Heaven Hill, stuff like that. But I think everybody's brand. I think everybody has certain bottles and certain brands underneath their portfolio that's going to suffer no matter what. So it's just kind of the state we're in, unfortunately. The Knicks just beat Philly in OT. Hell yeah, baby. All right. You can get anything. Yeah. Yeah. Same. Actually, it's kind of happening with a lot of different things. And, you guys know I talk about sneakers. It's happening with sneakers too. All the stuff that used to be picked up by resellers and put on secondary markets for a lot of money. Those shoes are sitting now. Nobody's really buying them. I don't know what's happening. People are just saving their money and they just don't want to buy that type of stuff anymore. It's interesting. Could be economy. If the economy comes back now a little bit here in 2025, we'll see what happens. Who knows? A little bit more of the same here. If this is kind of their profile, then it's pretty interesting, especially this being at 9 years old. I'm not getting like a ton of oak. Oh, I actually get the oak on the palate though. Definitely get the man. There's some really nice dark honey on that. I like this better than the Select. This has some richer, darker flavors to it that I dig. Actually, getting like a little bit of a fig, like a fresh fig note on this. Oh yeah, figs drizzled with honey all day long. I think that apple note is there too. Texture is still really good. Sometimes pot still can give you a little bit of like that tinny type of flavor profile. That none of that is here. So, and I'm glad it's not because that would kind of kill it. But this is nice. I like the darker flavors of the small batch over the Select. I just think there's a deeper richness there, which is really nice. Yeah, and this does not drink. Well, what is it? 111 it says. What was the proof? Yeah, 111.7. Yeah, it drinks right about that proof. I don't know why I was thinking for a second it was like 120, but it's drinking right at that proof point. Yeah, Willet Pot still to me is a little tinny. Cookie Cats, do a project with Nancy? Maybe. Yeah, it'll be cool to kind of. I'll have an announcement real soon, guys, so you guys will know exactly what's happening. So stay tuned. All right, real quick before we get into our last two samples, remember, guys, next week right here on the Mash and Drum, next friggin' week, he's coming on off the still with Mr. Bruce Russell, associate blender at Wild Turkey. We're going to learn more about his love for rye whiskey and its future at Wild Turkey. We'll get into some fun questions with him next week, but definitely tune in for that. Another great off the still episode following the great one we had with Brent Elliott. Now it is time for Bruce Russell from Wild Turkey to come on and talk all things rye whiskey and Wild Turkey, what they got cooking as far as 2025, the future of the brand, and all things in between. So, yeah, tune in for that. It's going to be awesome. All right, so next one here. I've got two more samples before we get to Blendageddon. So this is the Limestone Private Stock. So this is the one that they're touting as the. This is their big hitter. Oh, the color on that is beautiful. Okay, so this is 114 to 120 proof. Mash bill. Oh, mash bill's a little crazy here. 70% corn, 10% honeyed wheat, 10% honeyed malted barley, 10% distiller's malt, American white oak, entry proof 110.4. So we're in a lower entry proof for this special blend. Age around 8 years. SRP on this one, $189.99. So this is their premium offering. Let's see what we got here. Man, look at the color here on this, guys, real quick. Check this out. Look at that. That's a nice color for an 8-year, 9-year product. Have you scooped up one of those 700 milliliter double oaks yet? No, Nick. I'm probably going to not get that one. I have a lot of the 375s of the double oak. I don't really need to go and spend 200 on a 90.4 proof double oak from Woodford. Just don't need to do it. Would be great for content, yes, but not gonna really go in all in on that. All right, so immediately this is way more of a dark fruit punch than the other one. Where the other ones were kind of apple, fig, honey, pear, this now gets into almost this raisiny type of vibe. Raisins, chocolate, kind of Tootsie Roll. This might go good with my Entenmann's cookies. I'll tell you that. I've never had one, but $199 does sound rough. Listen, the double oak is good. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just can't stand it. The proof is so damn low. Jason, if you had to choose from on the counter and could only grab one, would it be the Murray Hill 4 or the Still Austin Tanager? You know what? I don't feel bad saying either one because I love Nancy. She worked on both of them, but I would go with the Murray Hill. As much as I love the Tanager for its uniqueness, that Murray Hill SR4 is ridiculous. So Murray Hill. Yeah, Kenneth, as soon as I find that damn Four Roses single barrel collection, I will do a review of it. It just hasn't hit Ohio yet. Guys have it on secondary already. So if I really wanted to buy it fast, could probably get it on secondary, but I'm going to wait it out and see if I could wait for it to hit Ohio here. Oh, shit. Okay. That's impressive. That's a really, really good whiskey. So now we're getting into, I was talking about figs in this one. This is like roasted caramelized fig with, oh my gosh, with Luxardo cherry syrup poured on top of it. Take a bite of that. Hint of smoke. There's a little bit of a smokiness to it. It's like smoked cherry Luxardo syrup on like roasted figs with dark honey. Oh my gosh, that's really good. Dude. Yeah, that's the shit. Yeah, Bourbon Jerk, that private stock is a banger. Dude, you ain't lying, man. That's really good stuff. Damn. I'm wondering how much like the honeyed mash bill, those two components, the honeyed malt and the honeyed wheat, that's driving a lot of the flavor in here compared to the other two, where it's a lot more of a traditional mash bill, and then also on top of that you have the those like apple, pear, stone fruit notes that you have there too. Yeah, like that's the type of geeky stuff that I like trying to figure out. But this is fantastic. Yeah, the more I sip this, the kind of that fig note I was picking up is taking a little bit more of a back seat. It's just straight up cherry syrup now. Yeah. Well, somebody said cherry pie. Yeah, cherry pie all day long. It took less than 2 years for Small Batch Select to make it to Kansas. I have low expectations for seeing the single barrels here anytime soon. Bourbon for bacon. Yeah, it's like deep fried cherry pie for sure. I could see that deep fried note, like a little bit of a pastry vibe to it as well, kind of on the front of the palate. But again, I love the pot still texture to it. It just coats the palate. This is a banger. This is a bottle. Next time I'm in Kentucky, I'm looking for this. That's really good. It's pricey. I mean, 200. You're basically at $200 for that. Is it worth $200? I'll say this: the Gatsby from MGP was 15 years old, and that was 202 and a quarter. And that had a very, very rich cherry note, but it got a little too medicinal to the point where it was like I don't know how much I could drink of this. This is kind of like that rich cherry without the medicinal note to it, without that medicinal twinge that had. This is great. BT in the house. Congrats on 95K, the OG channel. Thank you so much. I don't mind being called an OG. Definitely an OG. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, Brian Tracy. Brian, I got to text you. I need you to go to Sagamore and get my barrel samples. Appreciate that, man. This is really good. Hey, what's up? Whiskey Satan's here. Most stores in St. Louis have them. The OESO sells out fast and first. Really? I wonder why. I guess because that's more of the... I would feel like the OESK would go first, but maybe people like that O recipe. Tom Morrow says, Jason, you can just visit our blending barn and get bottles directly. All right, I'll do that, Tom. This is good. And Tom, thanks for sending along the samples. All right, last one before we get to Blendageddon. And also real quick, the only news story that I had was this. You guys are like, what the hell is that? But this is the next Buffalo Trace Prohibition collection. They have replicated 5 extinct whiskeys in the second release of the Prohibition collection. This will be a set, 375 milliliter bottles, housed in a wooden custom case to sell at $1,000 from the brand. Though last year's release fetched significantly higher prices on the secondary market. Yeah, no kidding. So the set comprises 5 diverse whiskeys from brands that have been lost to time. Mirrorbrook, very oldest procurable, Anderson's Bell, Old Fashioned, Mountain Corn, and Silver Wedding Rye Whiskey. I think Silver Wedding Rye is the only one that I know on that list. These whiskeys were made when Buffalo Trace was called George T. Stagg Distillery, which was under the leadership of President Albert B. Blanton. That's right, Mr. Albert Bacon Blanton. The popular bourbon brand joined forces with Scandinavian Tobacco Group to release limited edition set of cigars comprised of 5 distinctive blends meant to be paired with the collection. 750 boxes packaged similarly to the whiskeys are being released. This will be released through limited drops through Sazerac's distributors to specialized retailers and bars in January. So, yeah. Again, a set that none of us will see. Nobody will see that shit. But thanks for the announcement, Buffalo Trace. We appreciate it. All right, now this is the Bloodlines, and this is the last one we're going to try tonight before we get into Blendageddon here. The Bloodlines, from what I understand, is their flagship. So this is their flagship line of whiskeys, and this is basically a Kentucky straight bourbon, proof 94 to 96, 78 corn, 13 rye, 9% malted barley, blend of 6 and 9-year-old barrels for $60. So this is this is more of their flagship whiskey than their kind of like their budget pour. So I kind of should have had this first coming off that beast over there, but we'll still get into it here. Yeah, Tom, I was just gonna say I should have probably had this one first. I just went in the order of the PowerPoint. Wow, much different nose here. Let me go back to the select here for a second. Oh man, this select batch got into a really like a nice toffee, almost butterscotchy note. Oh, this one's showing a little bit more oak. That's the cherry bomb. Yeah, this one comes off a little bit more youthful, but I feel like, again, you have like a nice bright fruit note to it. Let's give it a try. Nothing wrong with that. It's spicy. It's going to sound weird, but I taste cantaloupe. I get green. I can never remember if it's green or the orange cantaloupe. I get cantaloupe on that. Cantaloupe and Wait, green's the honeydew, right? I think it's the orange cantaloupe that I taste. Cantaloupe, citrus, a little bit of spice, black pepper. The one thing that all four of these have is a really nice texture to it. Again, that pot still, I think, really does give it a nice texture. It's the one part of Woodford when you get the batch proof, you could actually taste that texture that Woodford brings with those batch proof whiskeys. You lose it when you proof it down to 90.4 proof all the time. But when you have that batch proof from Woodford Reserve, I will say the one thing that does have is a nice texture to it usually. Yeah, green melon. Tell me, did Jason do the Sagamore triple cask? Yeah, I did, John. It's delicious. The triple cask is ridiculously good. Yeah, this is good. The flagship, I could see where it kind of leads you. I feel like if you get the bloodlines, you get the flagship. It's got those really different flavors that introduce you to the pot still. It's got the best part of that bloodlines is the spice factor. The others I don't think have as much of a spice. I like the spice in the bloodlines. But this white label, it's starting to turn butterscotchy on me, which is my favorite note. So I'm going to go back to that. You have the the small batch, which again gets a little bit darker. It was getting those fig, the honey, but this deep fried cherry pie, as someone in the chat called it out, that thing's ridiculous. So thank you so much for sending these along. All right. Limestone Farm Distilleries, guys, check them out. If you come across that private stock and you like cherry in your whiskey, do not hesitate. It's the black label. I mean, let me put it here. It's the black label. Looks like that. That's the logo. LF. Can't miss it. Check it out. All right. We've been through some whiskey tonight. Tasted some good ones. Tasted some hitters already. Getting ready for Bruce Russell next week. But now it is time for all of our home blenders, part of Blendageddon, to get a little nervous. This is when they start getting a little bit shaky because it's time for week 5 of Blendageddon. Not only are we going to be tasting 6 different samples tonight, right? 1, 2, 3. Yep, 6. 6 blends are going head to head. That's right. 2 we're making it through, and 4 are going home. So, with that said, we're going to have our first judge. Well, not our first judge, but the judge. A judge that's coming on that has never been on the channel before. It's also helping me out with this blind tasting. Here we go. Let's get week 5 started right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in our guest judge. First time ever here on the Master and Drum Whiskey Room. Welcome, Mr. Zach from Bourbon Kingdom.
What's going on, guys? Did the audio work this time?
Dude, I can hear you loud and clear. So here's the thing. We were trying to get Zach on like in the beginning of the show. That's why it took me a minute to get on. And whatever mic he tried was not working. I couldn't hear shit. And all of a sudden we're like, okay, we're about to introduce him. I hope I could hear him. And thank God we could hear you.
So I had 3 mics. None of them worked. I literally had to drive to Meyer and pick up some headphones because I'm like, I don't understand why none of this is working. So, but hey, we're here. It worked out. I just watched more production value than anything I've ever been on in my life. So I'm like, wow, that's why you have like 95,000 subscribers and I don't. But you know, it's all good. So. But.
Oh man, well yeah, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you jumping on here. I know I asked you a few weeks ago to be a part of this. Unfortunately, Dave couldn't make it, but
yeah, Dave hates that he couldn't be here. He's doing mission work right now, doing stuff down in like southern Kentucky, and he's just not back home yet. So just didn't work out, but we miss him ish.
All right, Zach. So what do you exactly know about Blendageddon? Do you know anything?
So hasn't Matt Porter won this like a bunch of years?
Matt Porter threw in a blend once called Slippin' Jimmy, and did not know it was him. He like literally surprised me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but as far as Blendageddon goes, he never won the whole thing. He always just kind of conceded. He's like, look, just give it to someone else.
Oh, gotcha.
He was always really cool like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the beauty of Matt. But you know, overall, we've had so this is the 7th one, just pretty incredible. We've had 6 different champions. This is number 7. These are all blends that people make at home using just American whiskeys. I tell them to use. They can't use any single barrel store picks. They can't use any single barrel picks from groups. They have to be whatever is readily available as much as possible. This way, whatever the winning blend ends up being, people can replicate it at home.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the challenge. You can't just like sit there and throw, Stag, George T. Stag and Heaven Hill Old Fitz or something in a blend and throw it in and like here, enjoy and expect to win. You have to be a little bit more precise, but we've had some really interesting blends. Last year, the 2nd place blend, which was from JG, was literally just a blend of Sagamore cask strength and rare breed, and it got 2nd place, and it almost won.
Really?
Yeah, dude, you would never
go on that.
Yeah, you would have definitely try that blend. It works really, really beautifully. A lot of people have done that blend and told me how good it is. So, oh shit, we got K. Luke in the house. What's up, Jonathan Maizano? I'm guessing that's John. What's up, John? Nice to see you here. John, who just made my list of top. He was an honorable mention in my end of the year video for that batch 10 K. Luke cask strength that he did. Dude, that thing is so good.
I've tried it. We didn't get a bottle of it, but it was good. All their stuff that they've been doing, they've been putting out great stuff. Talk about a great brand that has really came on like last year and a half, 2 years.
Yep.
So
really good. So basically what we're gonna do now, I sent you the letter so you kind of know what's going on. You poured them out A through E, or I'm sorry, A through F in this case.
Yeah.
So we're basically gonna nose each one at the same time, go through our tasting notes, we're gonna rate it. And listen, don't be shy. If you think it's shitty, say it's shitty. If you think it's great, say it's great. I don't hold back, and I think that's what makes these guys kind of nervous. So
the good thing about me is I'm going to be honest to a fault. Now, sometimes it gets me in a lot of trouble with brands, but at the same time, it's honest.
I mean, yeah, that's what you got to do. Like, I get a little nervous every time so I just reviewed the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A125. I didn't really give it a very favorable review, so I always get nervous. Like I just got on their list and they're gonna fucking take me off now.
So I kid you not with Heaven Hill. So first off, we have a really good relationship with Heaven Hill. Like I know you do. They're really good to us, but we're on their like VIP list. So if there's like events or whatever, they always kind of like let us know, and we get a lot of invites, not to everything, but to a lot of things. But we're not on the sample thing. And I'm like, I think I kind of like that because I can always talk about how great the event is. And then that way, if they send me a sample, it's not that I won't be critical, but like,
Yeah, so. I hear what you're saying. So, all right. So now real quick, before me and Zach dive into this, basically what we're going to do, or what I wanted to announce, as I mentioned earlier, that normally for the end of the year, the final round to crown the winner of Blendageddon, I donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. But I think given what's happening in California, I'm going to be shifting my my charity to an organization to help out all the folks in California, whether it has to do with the rebuilding housing, any sort of funding. I haven't exactly landed on whether it be just be the Red Cross or something like that, but I am going to shift the charity to that side of things because I feel like California needs it more than ever. So that's what we'll be doing. Be helping the victims out in that aspect. We've raised 22,000, 16,000 during the St. Jude fundraisers in the last couple of years. So I feel like everybody can, lend a helping hand to, if you haven't already, lend a helping hand to the folks suffering in California.
Yeah. Yeah. So for you all who don't know, I was a firefighter for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I actually have 2 friends who are out there right now who do wildland firefighting. Like that's what they do full time. They contract, they go out there, and they're saying some of the worst stuff they've ever seen. Like in the sense of they just can't get it under control. And there's a lot of factors to that, but definitely if you guys are thinking about donating in some way, shape, or form, there's so much that needs help out there. Just find a good organization and look at supporting them. How do you all do that, by the way? Do you just do like a fundraiser on the thing, or do you all do like a bottle giveaway, or what do you all do?
So we have bottles that I donate a bunch of bottles to it. We have viewers I have patrons that will donate bottles to it. And we basically just kind of raise money to, the more you raise, the more entries you get to win any of the bottle. Like last year we had 40, 50 bottles in it. So it's pretty cool. So
that's awesome. Well, send me a reminder and I'll send you a bottle of something good.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's all for a good cause. And as I tell everybody, I always feel like, before I did the whole thing on YouTube with whiskey, I had a lot of bottles. It takes no time to balloon all that. And now I'm to the point, I'm trying to give stuff away to good causes. Cause it just you get it. You just all of a sudden accumulate so much. So
dude, I have so many whiskey bottles everywhere. And it's a lot of these bottles that I have that will definitely be going into the giveaway. So it'll be good. But as soon as it's time for folks to donate their bottles, we will get there. Yeah, I know. I hear there are a lot of movie stars that need help rebuilding their oceanside mansions.
They're not the ones I'm worried about.
I'm not worried about the movie stars. I'm worried about the people that I'm seeing that have literally nothing left. So
nothing.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive into letter A. So this is the first one we're gonna get into. And again, we will reveal exactly whose blend is whose at the end once we're done, once we start eliminating blends. So let's dive in, buddy.
Nice and subtle.
I feel like there's a little bit of proof here, maybe, but.
Now, let me say this. How long has yours been open for?
Like in the glass?
Yeah, just in the glass, just chilling.
I poured it the start of the live stream.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So we've been about the same then.
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all pretty dark.
Yeah, actually, that was something I was looking at. There was one of them. It's towards the back. I love the nose on that one.
I thought mine was dark. Those are all dark, says Mark M. Necker. Yeah. I mean, this has some really nice. It's kind of a balance. It kind of gears towards the toffee singed orange peel type of note.
Yeah. So originally there was some fruit on there for me, and a lot of that has went away, and it's going to more a little bit of baking spice, a little bit of almost like a bready cookie kind of baking something.
I could see the breadiness you're talking about, but man, I'm getting a good amount of citrus here, but blood orange, not a bright orange peel, but a dark orange, whatever that means. Man, that's good. It almost is has a syrupy, almost like agave, you know what I mean?
Yes, I was actually kind of getting ready to say it's not tequila finish, but there's something on there.
Yeah, there's an agave something on here, right? Yeah,
I don't know what that is, and it's not in a bad way either. I honestly,
no, it's good. It's really sweet. All right, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Give it a try. Oh shit.
I know. I cheated a little bit. I had a little bit of a sip as we were sitting there talking. That does not drink like how I thought it would.
No, it doesn't. Well, I
Hey.
think that citrus is there, but it's kind of now it's all like with honey and that agave. I feel like is still there.
So there's almost like a margarita lime lemon
Mhm.
kind of the citrus. I do agree with you on the citrus being there. And it's
Now,
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
It's almost like it's not like it's, and I don't know if I'm just like making this up in my head because I'm going there. There's almost like a little bit of like a salty sweetness there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
almost
like
almost like a drink, like a cocktail or something.
Like there's a salinity to it. A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I think drinks like a cocktail is actually a great way to describe it because it does. It actually comes off like a really like it drinks almost like an old fashioned a little bit.
Yeah.
Like a salty old fashioned with
like it would be something you would have on the beach.
Mm-hmm. That's really good though.
Mm-hmm.
I think there. I don't know why, but I think there's like it's drinking like wild turkey to me. I feel like there's some turkey in it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I was sitting there, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, is that rye? Is that wild turkey rye? But
yeah, whenever I get that heavy citrus, my mind immediately either goes to like MGP, like a modern MGP where it has that heavy citrus, or a wild turkey. Even Sagamore to some extent.
I was getting ready to say Sagamore too.
Yep.
So even some of more heavy blends.
All right. Good start, man. These
that's all.
The other five have work to do.
Yeah, I was actually, so just to go back to this one really quick, for this being like an in-home blend, there's a lot going on. It's complicated, but like in a very good way. Like there's a lot of layers to that, which is actually really fascinating considering like it's just, people at home blending, right? Like it's
that's what I mean. That's what's kind of the cool thing about the competition. Like I cannot wait to find, like, even if this one doesn't make it through, like I want to know what's in that because I would like to play with that. So yeah.
Agreed.
All right, let's go to number 2 here, or I should say letter B.
B. I'm following you.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is a little darker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dark fruits.
Wow. This is almost has a grapey brandy finish to it.
It reminds me of a 4-gate sample I got, but it was never released.
Is it their brandy finish one?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I had that same sample. Yeah.
Exactly.
I've been waiting for them to bring it out. I'm like, guys, look, I understand the market stuff right now. But if you don't bring it out, just please send me a bottle of it.
Exactly. That's all I want. Actually, I would love a case, to be honest with you, because like I'm not a big brandy finish kind of guy. Like I'm honestly not a huge finish individual, like in like the sense of what I like. But man, whenever I tried that, I was like, this might be the 3rd best 4-gate I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like that has that. It's got some some brandy, almost it's tobacco heavy. I'm not going to say leather, but it's sweet tobacco, brandy. This is like I want to pour this in a snifter and have this with like a cigar and drink it with all the rest of the rich people on the Titanic.
Yeah, there's also characteristics of like, gosh, the Titanic. There's also characteristics of like a dark rum in there too, but without the spice.
Rum's a great call out because it definitely has kind of like that dark maple syrupy type of vibe to it. All right, I want to try this because it smells so good.
I know.
Oh, holy shit. Dude, that's really good.
That is so good.
This can't be blended with like Shelfer. What is this?
So here's what I'm getting ready to say. Like again, and I don't want to go back and repeat off the first one, but it's almost like a canned cocktail in a way with like that rum and like there's so much like dark rum finish on there. It's a little, I see like a little jam on there. Man, is this how they all go? Like, do you just sit there and just have bangers back to back to back to back?
Nope. You know what? Last week was like that. Last week we had a killer bracket last week. Last week's bracket was tough. Because we had two past champions going head to head in that one. So that was a tough bracket. But sometimes you can run through blends that have just been kind of marinating for a little bit and they go real bad, real fast. And you can taste, I mean, we may run into that. You never know. But this is a dark fruit cigar tobacco bomb to me with that rum, that dark maple syrup type note that's in it. A little bit of a bittersweet chocolate on the very back end of it too.
Oh, that's a good call. I like that. A little bit of a white chocolate too.
Oh, I can see. Yeah, that sweetness.
Yeah, that's a really good call. This almost drinks like a youthier version of 48 Kelvin 6. It's not quite as dark, but I feel like the finish on this, I mean, it's just going for.
Honestly, it's giving me like Joseph Magnus vibes, like cigar blend. Are
you talking the older ones or the
older ones?
Yeah, that's a good call too, because I can see that too. I bet you this would pair. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate that Dave's not here, but I'm loving that I didn't pour all these and I have 2 sample bottles full of this because B is going to be amazing with a cigar later.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This is man, that is really good. I don't even know where to begin though with what that would be, to be honest.
Me either. I have no freaking clue what that could be.
I really don't.
I mean, you have to be. It's got if there is nothing finished in there, then I quit. There's got to be some sort of finished whiskey in there because it's so rich and sugary and fruit forward. I mean, it's so rich.
Like watch it be like benchmark foolproof and like old plastic pack, bottle bond or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Elijah Craig toasted rye and Jep the Creed. Like here you go.
Now, okay, all right. Let me say one thing, and to ruin all credibility with our channel, I have had some new, older Jeff the Creed stuff. It's not the worst thing I've ever had in my life.
You're fired.
I know. I get it. Look, I get it. I'm not even saying it's still good.
No, honestly, I've gotten multiple emails of people saying you should try this from Jeff the Creed. It's actually a lot better. So
Agreed.
I'm still scared. I don't know.
Should be
the most positive bottle that people have sent me what to try was the red, white, and blue one that they did. Apparently people like that one. So.
I hated that one. The only stuff I've had are samples that they've handed out. So, like, have you ever been to their distillery?
Yes, I have been.
Okay. So I actually really like the setup out there with like the rick house and the chairs and the water and all that stuff. I think it's cool.
It's beautiful there. Yeah,
I agree. And it's like, man, I wish the whiskey was better. Like I just do. But the stuff I've had, I'm like, okay, maybe your stuff just needs to get like 12 to 15 years old and it'll be good. So
we'll see.
No promises though.
All right, Zach, real quick before we get to C, tell us a little bit about how you when you and Dave, when you guys kind of started the channel, why you wanted to start the channel, just kind of get into, you don't have to go into the whole backstory, but give us a little bit of a Cliff's Notes backstory.
So don't start in high school whenever I got a fake ID and I got into whiskey. Just start like right before. Gotcha. So
there you go.
I've been into whiskey since basically I was legally allowed to drink. Never a beer guy. You were talking earlier on your stream about like craft beer and all that. Never ever got into that.
Okay.
I just don't. I get full off beer. Like I don't mind it. I just get full off of it. So
I love stout. So yeah, I know how full you can get.
Exactly, sure. And that's what Dave is. Like Dave's truthfully, he's a beer guy more probably anything. But so I've always been into bourbon. I got to the point to where I was thinking about starting a golf YouTube channel, and I hurt my back, and so I was just to the point I couldn't play golf anymore. And I was talking to Dave. It's like, man, I think I kind of want to start a bourbon channel. Cause like I was watching you and Junkies and Whiskey Drive and maybe and there was like one other channel at the time. And then like, I kind of hauled around with it. He said he would do it. And for anybody who doesn't know, Dave's actually a full-time minister. Mm-hmm. So I was like, and we used to go to the same church before he moved and took a new job. And I was like, "Are you sure?" And he literally called up his minister, his head minister. He's like, "Yeah, just don't do anything stupid." And I'm like, kind of what we are. We kind of are stupid. Like, I joke around all the time. We're just a bunch of clowns that drink whiskey. So anyway, so yeah, we just started. But even if I didn't do like whiskey tube and all of that stuff, I would still be just like I am with bourbon and stuff. I was like that before. I've been into it since basically day one of me being able to drink. Like, I'm not one of these guys who are like, oh, I was buying like old ribs and mixing it with Coke. I'm not like one of those guys. But like, I remember the old age-stated Wild Turkey 101s. I mean, that's what I drank growing up. Like,
yeah.
I remember the old donut bottles.
I was drinking 101 in college, neat.
Yeah,
and not many people drinking it neat. I mean, obviously I started with like Coke and ginger ale, but then started drinking it neat kind of like my senior year, and then it just kind of went into that's all I really knew for a little while until I had Booker's for the first time. That kind of changed everything.
Fair. No, what's funny about me is I was drinking it with Coke the entire time until one night I didn't have Coke. So I'm like, I'll just put it over ice. Yeah. And I was like, it's just cheaper to drink it like this. I don't need to add any Coke or whatever. And then you know how it goes. It goes from there. And then you become quote unquote classy and you're just drinking it neat all the time. But
Big Vic says shameless plug, GoFundMe stream Saturday night, 25 plus bottles and the giveaway. Appreciate all the support. His cousin lost his home, I think. He's out in California. So there you go, man. We'll support you, Vic. All right, let's go to letter C.
I won't lie. C was the one I nosed earlier, and I was just like, wow.
So C is a different animal than we came up. Like A and B were kind of like fruit monsters. This is different.
Yes, I agree. And it's like
this is baking. This is like grandma's spice cabinet.
I was actually getting ready to say grandma's cookies.
Oh, cookies. Yeah, like spice cabinet cookie. Yeah, all those things.
Yeah.
Man, that smells awesome.
Yeah. A good amount of vanilla on this one. We really hadn't had any vanilla on the first two.
Yeah, the first two was so fruit forward. Now it's like shifting back to more of a traditional type of American whiskey vibe.
Yeah.
What's up, Bourbon Retriever? Bourbon Retriever's in the house. Darren Clary, nice to see you, man.
Oh, what's going on, buddy?
Webco Local started about 14 or 15 drinking Canadian Miss Neat with an old Milwaukee Chaser. Damn, Webco Local, that's old school, man. Love it. Canadian Mist with an old Milwaukee Chaser. Man, that's kind of badass.
I think it was, again, around the time I was legally allowed to drink. I remember the first time I bought a bottle that was like over like $40 and I bought a Gentleman Jack. And I thought I was just like, man, look at me. And what's hilarious is here's what's the real funny thing. So there's a picture, somebody took a picture of me doing that, and right on the shelf was Old Forester birthday bourbon. It was like $48. It was at a Kroger in New Albany. So it was just like, and I don't have like any of the old like B-Tac Pappy stories or whatever, but I do have the birthday where, it would still sit on shelves then. So I think that was like 2009, 2010. So.
Okay. I mean, yeah, like the first, like that first bourbon that you think, like, wow, I'm hitting the big time right now. So yeah, for me, I mean, yeah, I was kind of with the Wild Turkey 101, but I remember thinking I was a king shit for drinking Maker's Mark. I'm like, I'm drinking Maker's now. Oh. You see that red wax? Now you know it's quality.
Exactly. And that's what my friends would tell me. It's like, oh wow, you got a wax bottle? I'm like, yeah, dude, it's like $20, man.
And even
175.
I would totally bullshit and be like, yeah, it's good. And I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I'm like, gonna go back to my Wild Turkey.
Well,
even back then I knew that I wasn't a big fan of Makers.
So funny story about me and Makers. So I had an old neighbor give me like 10 bottles of Maker's Mark. Okay. And I was like, oh, this would be good to drink. It was all from the 70s. And I just thought all Maker's Mark tasted like that. So I ran out of that for a long time. And then whenever I bought it, I was like, oh, this is not the same.
No.
And that was like my introduction to Dusty's. I didn't.
Yeah, when I went to the Hall of Fame induction at Barson Bourbon Company for Steve Nally, he distilled it, Maker's Mark for so long, kind of the nickname, the Wheat King. he broke out some of those old Maker's Mark bottles that he made, and I'm like, why does it not taste like this anymore? This is incredible.
So Steve and I had that conversation, and he's like, well, just like, I was talking to him. I was like, well, it's the process, right? He's like, yes. And he's like, but also the oak. He's like, we all just sleep on that oak just being so much older than compared to now.
Yeah.
And there's like a handful of people that have really given me some decent education, and he was kind of like towards that back end where he just said stuff. I'm like, that just makes so much sense. Why didn't I think about that? Like, it's like the simplest things you just don't think about, but he's awesome. If anybody gets an opportunity to talk to him, hang out with him, he's awesome.
Yeah. That's from most folks that I've talked to in the industry about, the really big difference between, there's process, there's grain.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously a more refined and elegant spirit today than it was, 30, 40 years ago. But the biggest difference, you're right, was the oak. It's the trees. Like, they can't cut the trees down fast enough. Whereas back then they had a little bit more of a selection to choose from, and it just carries different richness into the whiskeys. So
well, and I mean, and you said something too that's actually a really good point. Like grain, like all this stuff is great that we're enhancing and genetically modifying like trees and grain and doing all these things, since because probably if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to have half the things that we have.
I know, but is it wrong that I want that old dirty grain back?
No, you are absolutely correct. Like, have you ever done a tour at Maker's Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, so they take you through the grain process and everything. So they're testing, for anybody who hasn't been, they test every single grain. And if they find like anything remotely wrong, they reject it.
Yeah, they reject the entire truck.
The entire truck. And here's what's crazy. That truck isn't really missing out. It's just going to one of the other major distilleries that's in the area. So, but they are talking about Maker's Mark, they are probably the strictest on the quality that they're getting from grain and oak and everything else. Like, they are really strict on all that stuff.
Mark Emanecker, if I was a rapper, I'd definitely be Old Dirty Grain. That'd be my rap name.
That's a great one.
This to me is like drinking a bowl of Frosted Flakes.
Yes. Okay. That is so good. It's not milky, but
no, not milky, but I'm just talking like that really sweet, almost vanilla frosted, whatever's in that frost stuff that they coat those flakes in. That's what this tastes like.
It drinks like a nice but yet young weeder.
That's a good point.
Like it like
I really like this.
I do too.
Good.
It's good. It's not as complex as the first two, though, in my opinion. It's a little bit more straightforward. Like, this is what it is.
I think Potter Jane fired up their new still last week. Yeah. I mean, crazy too, because like you're thinking of in today's time, you're firing up a new distillery. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
But I mean, Denny Potter and Jane Bowie. I mean, you're not going to find two people that know more about whiskey than them two. So
yeah, here's what's funny. You were briefly touching on the Brown Foreman stuff and everything, and we, by the way, from what I'm hearing, nobody knew this was coming.
Oh,
like nobody knew this was coming at all, and people got blindsided left and right, which is awful. Like, I hate that for people.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and we've heard from dozens of people like, hey, if you hear something from a distillery, send me a message. I would love to be able to apply and stuff like. And some of these people have been there for a long time, so I hate it. I really do, because I always say, like, whenever you see these massive layoffs, it's always the working man or woman that always kind of gets punished for all of this, and the higher ups, they get to keep their job. Yep. But yeah, I know we're seeing right now in Kentucky, we're seeing the distilleries that handled the COVID boom correctly and the ones who didn't. And I don't think we're remotely close to being done on distilleries that are either going to let people go, slow down production, stuff like that. So
yeah, I touched on that last week when I kind of did a wrap up. I'm like, I think we're just scratching the surface of what could come down the pipeline in 2025, unless we have just a huge economic turn and But I don't really think it's mostly the economy. I think it's the people that are drinking this stuff and new drinkers and the younger generation that isn't really interested in whiskey right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. So
well, I mean, just the people that's in here in chat, like I get like we're the nerd side of things, right?
Yeah,
like,
we're the nerd side of things.
Like we are the hardcore, we're the nerd people. We're the ones that buy the unique stuff or really try to hunt and build those relationships, blah, blah, blah. But even the people that were at home doing all the cocktail stuff, I think most people want to go out and have a cocktail. Like I you know, from what we hear about, like, yeah, people want to have a cocktail here and there. People want to go out. So if people are going out,
but it's not only that, it's also the folks that stocked up on stuff during COVID because there was nothing to do.
That's a great point.
They're trying whiskey, they got into the hobby, they were excited to hunt all these different bottles. And I think once the kind of the combination of distillers capitalizing on that with the people that were really bourbon curious and then becoming bourbon nerds came together and they were buying everything up. I think the bourbon curious folks during COVID just kind of like, okay, well, I'm kind of done with this. I'm ready to move on to the next thing. I have enough whiskey I stocked up for the last few years. I don't need to try anything else. But then I do think there's this big disparity between bourbon newbies and the bourbon nerds that we are. That middle ground. I think there's a huge disconnect there. I think that has widened more and more, where those folks aren't really, they're kind of stuck in their way. They don't want to try anything new. They don't want to buy something for $200. They're happy drinking a $40 or $30 bourbon and they're done. And unfortunately, that could be like the crux of your market. So,
yeah, I mean, so actually I agree with a lot of that. And I think these brands that have started up and they're new, whenever they don't come out with a good base, that is, it doesn't even have to be like accessible, but it just has to be cost effective. Mm-hmm. Like you have to come out with something like the greatest thing that Bardstown did was come out with brands, including Green River, that was cheap. Like not every place can still get Bardstown Origin Series or the Green River products. Like they just can't, but they're like nobody's, I don't want to say nobody's, turning away $30 bottle. But everybody's okay with that. But whenever you're coming out, which we see it all the time at our liquor stores with an $80 bottle and it's 5 years old and we probably know where it came from.
Yeah, nobody's buying that anymore.
Nobody's buying that. Nobody wants to buy that. I
don't care with some contrived label with some stupid history on it that's made up. Nobody wants that anymore.
No, because the people because more people are educated on whiskey now than what they've ever been, in my opinion. And then the people who are just getting it to mix with Coke, they're not going to spend that money on that or mix it with whatever. So
Joey B says, if the prices were set at SRP and there were no markup from distributors or stores, the distillers would flourish. Well, Joey B, that I feel like you're missing out on the NDPs. If you're talking about distillers, I think they have more of a room to get down lower in price. But NDPs, generally, you see that 5, 6, 7 year stuff coming from NDPs for $80 to $100. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, if it's just another MGP product, nobody's buying that anymore.
You better come out with a banger.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that people forget is whenever they would look at like Oak Carter or Foregate, for example. Now, Foregate came out expensive from the get-go, and Oak Carter came out expensive from the get-go, and Oak Carter just kept going. But they put out really good stuff right off the bat. So then that built loyalty and stuff like that. When somebody comes out with $100, $120, $150 bottle and nobody's heard of it, and then you try it and you're like, what is this garbage?
You know what C tastes like now? Like a snickerdoodle cookie.
Oh, I can get down with that.
Getting cinnamon cookie.
I got the cinnamon.
That frosted flake vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know if 3. I think 2 is still the standout to me, but 3 could go against A here, I should say, or C go against A. I keep changing numbers and letters. All right. So let's go on to the D. The D is always good, right?
The D.
Here we go. A little bit more of a it's weird because like the whiskey's pretty dark, but I'm not getting much off the nose.
Well, I was getting ready to say, not only am I not getting much off nose, it's almost like a little it's almost like a little, I don't want to say like medicine, but it's not like medicinal at the same time. It's, I don't know. What is that note?
Yeah, Maurizio, you're right. Yeah, Bardstown. I think Bardstown is going to be they're definitely going the smart road with doing less LEs now. The next couple of years, just keeping it focusing on their core range, focusing on their Green River. I think they're set up, man. They're set up. So
yeah, I honestly think that talking about distilleries that did it right during COVID, I think Bardstown / Green River was one of those distilleries that did it right. How they expanded and their experiences and their everything that they did. So I think
D might have gone funky.
Well, I was going to say it's weird on the nose.
Try it. Let me see what you say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not feeling that one.
The finish on it got, and this is the same flavor. It's weird because that little bit of like that bitter funk that comes up on the back of this one is what I see happen to blends more often than not, where I don't know if it's just been mingling for a little while and it just kind of turns. There's a point where it just kind of turns to this weird, it may not have tasted like this when they first blended it, but as it sat and mingled, it may have just turned into something like this. So
two things. If I had to guess a product in here, I'd guess Willet Pot Still. And then two, I almost wonder if this is what like black ink from a printer tastes like. I don't know why, but I'm getting a little bit like that on the nose.
So you feel like it's kind of like that chemical type of vibe.
Yeah, like harsh chemical. I work in a chemical plant, so like I have a little bit of experience with that, but
the finish tastes like Sharpie marker.
Yeah.
That's what I get.
See, I'm telling you, black ink, right?
Yeah, Sharpie marker. And maybe because you said black ink.
But no, I'm just putting in your head.
I know when you put that in my head, I'm like Sharpie marker actually might be the perfect way to describe that. I know because every time that note I get it, it doesn't. I have a hard time describing it. Sharpie marker might be the way to describe it.
Travis, it's definitely pen ink.
Yeah, pen ink, Travis.
Definitely pen ink. Yeah, I agree. I feel like
that one's not going to hold up against these other three.
Hold up. Yeah,
all right.
I agree.
All right, let's go to E.
That dirty D.
The dirty D.
The dirtiest of these.
Ooh, E's a little bit of a proof monster.
Mm-hmm.
Smells like it. Getting light whiskey in here a little bit.
Okay, so I was gonna say, is it light whiskey or is it Canadian?
Well, it's got to be American, so it's probably not Canadian.
Okay, it has to be American. Okay,
yeah. Oh man,
that is proofy.
Yeah, it smells proofy. It smells proofy. It smells bright. A little bit of like a pineapple vibe to it. It's a little tropical.
Really? Oh. Okay. So I was actually going to say a little bit of like a Fig Newton, but it's not like a traditional like flavor of that. It's almost like because what's like was a strawberry Newton work or something? There's some kind of fruit in there. But there's almost like a weeded note in there, but it doesn't. I don't think it's a weeded bourbon. I agree with you.
I could see strawberry a bit for sure.
I agree with you about the like American whiskey take on that. I'll try it. See.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this.
But it is dark though, which honestly, like that makes me think.
Oh yeah, it's much darker on the palate. I take it back. No pineapple. That's much darker on the palate. There is definitely a proof to it.
Yeah.
Man, that's proofy for sure. It's got a nice spice to it, but I feel like there's nothing like standing out about it.
You know what's a shame on that one? I love that proof on that one. I think that proof hits really hard, but I agree with you. That palate's almost like muted and just bland.
It's almost like whatever's being blended together here is like fighting each other to stand out.
Yeah,
but nothing standing out.
Yeah, it's like one of them's trying to stand up and nothing can stand up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't. Man, that's
a shame because I like you said, I think the proof point of it and the effects of it are like perfect because you get the heat. It has an unbelievable finish. The finish just goes, but the palate, unfortunately, has just went flat.
Yeah, it does. That because I agree with you. That's probably the longest finish that we've had out of any of these.
Easily.
And that finish is there all day long.
Man, that finish, that's a winning finish. Unfortunately, it's not coupled with a great palate.
I agree. Whoever did E, you have like a great base of something here.
Yeah, there's something here, but I don't know if you need to simplify it or add to it. I'm curious what's in that, but man, that's tough because
I don't know what that would be because
I have no idea what would be in there.
I would have no clue because I know you said you couldn't do single barrels. So because I was going to say the proofiness of it is like some of the new like Old Forester barrel strengths that have been coming out.
Oh yeah,
you get some of that proof, but you don't get the youth of it. I won't say all of them, but a lot of them that we've been seeing here lately. In our area.
You getting any rye in there?
No, but let me.
I feel like I'm mainly. I feel like I'm
saying that though.
I feel like I'm mainly getting it on the finish. I feel like there's that spice, and I'm getting just a tinge of like a floral component that's making me think rye. Now, if there's no rye in it, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's making me think that way.
I see what you're talking about with the floral note. I don't get a ton of like rye spice on there, but the floral note, now that you say that, yeah, I'm getting that.
Yeah. Okay. Man, that's a shame, that one, because that's the best finish of the night.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the palate to back it up. All right, let's go to F.
I think this was the one I really liked on the nose.
Nathan, it tastes like beans. Yeah, beans. Could have 4 roses in it. Maybe Stu. That's a good call out.
That would be a proofy 4 roses.
It would be.
I mean, Father's Day bottle, but hey, that.
God, I gotta get me one of those,
dude. It's a monster. It's seriously. I'll say this: if we would have done the review and put it in our blind, I think it's top 3.
Did you get a bottle of it, or did you get a sample of it?
I got a few bottles of it.
You got a few bottles of it? You're an asshole. Whatever.
Yeah, true. But so we were there, and so I didn't go to the Father's Day event.
What's up, 96 Milli Man?
I did go the day after, and we gambled. Nobody knew if they would have it. History would tell us that they would, but we didn't know, so we camped. Brent's there, and Brent's like, we're going to have a lot. There's not a lot of people here, so let everybody go, and then if you want to get back in line, get back in line. They're not going to tell you no. I was like, I mean, I won't deny that at all. And it was like literally me and like 9 other people sitting over there, and we're just like, good. All right, we can go.
Dude, that's crazy.
I know. And they were cool with it. Here's the thing about Four Roses. Four Roses is honestly one of the coolest distilleries on the trail, in the sense of like, not only do they try to put out allocated stuff every day, but then they try to do a lottery to make it fair for everybody who doesn't live locally. Mm-hmm. They do the club lottery, which is cool. And then they try to do special releases for the people here. And they try to give heads up on some and then not on others. Like they try to do everything.
Yeah, dude. We had Brent Elliott on here, probably about a month ago, and he was so forthcoming and everything. Just such a fantastic person to talk to.
Out of all seriousness, like, no, a lot of people got to meet a lot of cool people. Brent is one of those, like, whenever we do like the boys' night and we have like we'll theme it, like we'll do like whatever pours, everything has to be like 15 plus years, or we'll do King's Night or Will at Night, whatever it is, right? He would be the guy who I would want to invite. And not only would he bring cool shit, he would just be loving it. Like, because he's one of us.
Yeah, he is.
There's a lot of people who they love the job that they have and they like whiskey, but they're not like us, where this is a crazy passion of ours. And he's one of those.
I would actually put Connor O'Driscoll from Heaven Hill in that category too. That That guy just loves to hang out and drink. He's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes, like
And that's probably the Irish in him. But
yeah. Super cool.
quick,
Same thing with Michter's too.
Quick question for you. Travis Robeson, great question. Who has better picks overall around Louisville? Evergreen, Liquor Barn, John O's, or Kroger?
So out of all of those, old school, it'd be John O's. It wasn't even close.
Okay.
Now it's so hit or miss with picks. Like I haven't had I'll say this. I think the best John O pick I've probably had in 4 years is either their Willet pick or their Stag pick. And I know people are sitting there like, well, it's Stag and Willet. I get it. But out of the other ones, I tend to like Evergreens because when Liquor Barn and Kroger go do a pick, you know, they're picking, like if they go to Buffalo Trace, for example, they're picking 30 plus barrels at a time. And Jason, you and I know this. Whenever you're picking after 8 to 10 barrels, it all blends together. So you don't really know what you're getting.
Yeah, your palate's fried after about 6 barrels. You're done.
Exactly. So whenever Cox's goes, they don't pick that many, so they're a lot more individual. Now, if I'm being fair to Cox's, certain people go on certain picks. So I trust those people more than others, like to be fair. I think Cox's typically picks a really great Grand River barrel, a really good Old Forester barrel. But, you know, anymore, like I tell this people all the time, whenever you come on the trail, try to find a store like Liquor Barn, Evergreen, where you can try all the picks and figure it out yourself. Because it's just hard. And you know this. You've done how many picks where you're like, this is the best you got?
Yeah, first time I was ever at Heaven Hill, I was so excited to do my first ever Logitech barrel proof pick, and I almost walked away because the barrels were shit.
Yeah.
But at that time, the experience was not like it is today. The experience today is so much better than it used to be.
Sure.
We got just like shoved in a rick house with 3 barrels. Here, pick one. And like our barrel person, our ambassador, she just basically was like, yeah, here you go. Here's some classes. Have fun. And then she just left. I'm like, these are all shit. We ended up picking the 3rd barrel because it was the best of the 3 easily. But the first 2 were really bad. And I don't even know if the 3rd one was as good as we think it is because the first 2 were terrible. So,
well, and here's like some insider training. And I don't know, Jason, if you ever talked about this or not, but like whenever we talk to brands about doing barrel picks with them, they look at us as very different because we're more marketing for them than what like Liquor Barn, Cox's, Kroger, whoever, right? Because we're going to talk about it, we're going to promote it. And so they want us to have a good experience because if Kroger does a pick, ain't nobody going to talk about it. They're just put it on the shelf and then maybe the store manager might talk about it, try to sell it, but they don't. It is what it is, right? But so we get like, I don't want to say special treatment, but like certain brands do look at us like, well, you know, you guys are going to talk about us. So like, we want you to have a good time.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some of that we've experienced for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What do you think of the E? I'm sorry, the F.
I don't think it's my favorite.
I'm trying to decipher what I'm tasting. It's a little bit all over the place.
That's what I was going to say. It's not. It doesn't taste the same. But remember, Wild Turkey Master Keep Revival.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, that was a roller coaster of an experience in the sense like it didn't really have a beginning, finish, or beginning, middle, and end. And I feel like kind of like this one. Like it's not. I feel like a really good whiskey tells a great story. And I think we have a couple of these tonight that have done really well with that. And I don't think this one does, if that makes sense. And maybe I'm being too nitpicky, but.
No, but I mean, we need to be nitpicky. We have 6 freaking samples here. This one goes more down the line of herbal. Is it?
It does have.
It's got like a green thing to it for me.
MGP. Ross and Squibb.
Maybe
it has some of that in there to me, but it's like
it tastes like green, like I would think green would. It's like there's like a vegetal quality to it. I don't know how to explain it.
Is it because the citrus that's in there?
Maybe.
It does drink youthy.
It does.
But it doesn't have the sharp notes of something that would be youthy. It doesn't have honey notes like how you would get.
I only get the youthful quality right at the mid palate. The finish gives me like a nice little tobacco leaf type note, but other than that, again, I feel like this is one of those blends that is trying to, like you said, trying to tell a story, but the words are just a little bit jumbled here. It's I feel like whatever components are here, they're fighting each other. And again, this is the thing I talk about on Blendageddon, where you get into the later weeks as we get into this, as these blends sit, how they change. This is what happens. So
how long do you get them, and how long do they tend to sit? Or does it just,
I usually get them
depends on how
I usually get them around August, September.
Oh wow.
And if we kick it off in September, October, I mean they're sitting. And even the bourbons, or I should say the blends that have made it through to the next rounds, have been sitting even longer now. So who knows how much they will change. So real quick, guys, I'll show you before we kind of get into our final rankings here, because I know Women of Whiskeys is going live. Want you folks to kind of go check them out. But as we get into the bracket here, as you can see, week 5 has six different folks in it. Week 6 has 7 different blends in there.
So jealous whoever gets to do week 6.
Yeah. So week 6, but it's kind of a detriment because, well, I mean, maybe not, because week 6 will suck if all those blends are good and then 2 of them only make it through. Week 5, I feel like even with the 6 blends, I feel like we have enough of a we have a good appreciation for exactly what blends I think that we like right now. So I don't think it's going to affect too much. But as far as the next rounds, when we get into the Sweet 6 of the groups here, when those 6 blends are going to be going against each other before we get to the final 4, here is a close-up look of the where's that screenshot? Let me see here. Let me pull in the close-up of the actual week 5 bracket. So this is who's in it. If anybody didn't know, if I forgot to call out, I'm sorry. I know I put it at the bottom of the screen, but Andy Bolgiano, the Alchemist Delight, Nathan Jurgensen with probably my favorite name in the competition with Barrel Proof Donkey Sauce. Mark Emenecker with Evans Evolution, Andy Smith with From Jimmy with Love, Miro with Old Gary Carter, playing to my Mets fandom, and Eric Snyder with PB&J Part 2. So those are the blends that are in here tonight. So there you go. All right. Let's do this real quick.
Really quick. Tommy, he just said, can't believe Zach's still awake. Tommy, I just want to say I've been up since 4 a.m. I get to get up again at 4 a.m. Let's go. All right.
Yeah.
So
if you had to, let's eliminate 2 here.
D, that's pretty easy, right?
D is an easy one. But I think D, E, and F are the ones that are fall behind between A, B, and C.
Honestly, I can do all 3 of those. Is that easy? All right,
easy.
Let's do that.
Okay. So D, E, and F are gone. We're gonna move those to the side. Now, unfortunately, we have 3 really good blends here in A, B, and C, and one of these is going home. So I feel like A and B are kind of my leading favorites, but there are components of letter C that I really love.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's try it again. Let's go through them again real quick. These 3, and we'll.
You want to go reverse order?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with C. We'll go CBA.
Love on that one.
Jeffrey Wack, you going down, buddy? Oh yes, it's Big Vic. These guys are already starting to trash talk each other. I love it.
I love this.
Yeah, this competition is for the community. I love seeing these guys trash talk each other. It's hilarious. So
that's the best.
Yeah.
That is like literally the best.
Yeah.
That's why I always joke about, like, I tell Dave, like, I want to do like some kind of like community competition, but I don't know what to do.
Why did you do a 7 instead of a third 6? Because the last blend that was in there, one of the blends got lost in the mail, and I had to add it at the last minute. So that's why the numbers ended up being what it was. So,
yeah, I was actually kind of worried because we long story short, we did some Patreon sample giveaways, and I had a couple of them get emailed back to me. It's like, hey, they're delayed. I'm like, well, how long? Like indefinitely. And I'm like, that's not really a good answer. Like, now they got delivered on time, so I don't know why. I think they just did like a blanket kind of like thing with all the snow that's been going on around the country. But yeah, that's why I think I even said something to you about it. So as long as we were on time with it.
Yeah, the one I did last week got all delayed to Todd Ritter, who's going to be actually my guest judge, but he didn't get his package until I don't know what, like Friday or Saturday. It took a while. So
oh wow,
yeah.
C is still very solid.
To me, B is in. It's between A.
I agree. So I agree. I'm cool with going back and like resampling it. I think B is the best one we've had.
B is the best blend tonight, easily.
I totally agree.
All right, so B is in. It's between A and C, and I'm not really sure which direction I want to go because they're both pretty close. They have similar experiences, just different flavors, and I'm not really sure.
It's kind of what you preference.
Yeah, I'll leave this to you because you're the guest judge. As far as which one out of A and C do you think is the more unique one? Or I would say not only unique, but the one that you would go back and want to pour again. That's really kind of the question.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, B is still a monster. B is really good.
B is really good.
B, like, kudos to whoever did that. That is awesome. I'm not giving that one to Dave to try. Snooze, you lose.
Oh, poor Dave.
Poor Dave. Don't poor Dave. That dude, let me tell you something. I love Dave to death. Okay. Dave, how should I? Are we allowed to cuss on live stream? I can't remember.
You could cuss a little.
He has a rabbit foot that shoves so far up his ass the hair tickles his throat. That's how lucky he is.
I've heard of his King of Kentucky luck, which drives me crazy.
He just walks in the stores and finds it at retail.
Yeah.
Like stores, not stores. But then he's also the guy who's been the #1 at Total Wine Lottery for Pappy 23. And he's only entered it like twice. And he's like, why didn't I win the last time?
Whatever, man.
I know. I've been entering since I was like, 23, 24. Only won once.
All right. So between A and C, where are you leaning? I know where I'm leaning, but I'll let you tell me. Let the guests eliminate one of your Patreon. Diplomatic of you, Jason. No, well, I mean,
smart move, actually.
They're the guest judges for a reason. I have no problem. I have no problem eliminating anyone. We'll just see if he agrees with which sample I want to eliminate.
Okay, so taking B here. Okay.
Oh, Todd, you didn't get it till Monday. Holy shit, that was too long. Okay.
So if I have to eliminate one, I'm going to eliminate C.
That's where I'm at.
First off, it's a great blend. I have nothing really bad to say about C whatsoever. And I think C is solid through and through. I think A is unique and just more enjoyable.
Yep.
Like coming back to it, did you get like some like almost like fruit gusher notes to that?
On A?
Yes.
Yeah,
like
A is an absolute. A is getting more fruity when I go back to it. And I think
agree.
And I think the finish on A is better than C.
I agree. And
that's where, again, we're looking for like a complete experience. And I think A and B actually have it. C has front, mid. It just lacks in the finish. If it had a longer finish, I feel like it would get there. But A has got all the components. B, though, is still easily the best blend of the night. So
yeah, I agree. But you know what, though? A really caught up going back in doing that. Like, it's still B. B is still the best, but A really took a big jump for me closer to B. Like, where I thought B and A were like this, it's more like this now.
All of you liquors, it's hard to jump around, but I have the breakdown of the Sagamore triple cask, exactly all the components and how old. I can send it. Yeah, post it in the chat, all of you. Appreciate that. The worst part about ending this is not knowing which is yours while they talk about them, says John Warnick. Yeah.
Oh, that's
all right. So we are eliminating C. So that means A and B are moving to the next round, the Sweet Six, baby. So congratulations to A and B. But now it's time to find out
Oh, do I get to find out what's in these blends?
We're gonna find out what's in C, D, E, and F, but not the ones that make it through, unfortunately.
Oh, the ones I care about.
Exactly.
Teaser.
But in a few more weeks, we'll know, and you could
Fair.
watch back and find out exactly what's in these blends. All right. So here are the results. Let's find out whose blend belongs to who. We're gonna go. Which one do you want to find out first, Zach?
Let's find out C.
So C belongs to Mr. Andy Smith. Andy Smith blended, and I'll pull it up here. Andy Smith blended From Jimmy with Love. So I feel like, was there some turkey in there? All right, so we're gonna find out exactly what was in his blend. Dude, that was so close, man. But just
now that you say that, is that Dusty Turkey that's in there?
I don't think it's dusty. Remember, it's got to be a kind of a findable bottle.
Oh, that's right. It has to be a findable bottle.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what Andy Smith blended here. Yeah, it's 80% Wild Turkey Rare Breed, 10% Wild Turkey Rare Breed Rye, and 10% Russell's Reserve 15. Holy shit!
Wow.
I wouldn't quite call that findable, but okay. 116.4 proof. Holy shit. And I mean, you were asking about Dusty Turkey. Maybe that's why, because that 15 does have a dusty funk to it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But you know what's crazy though? That I don't get any. I hardly get any rye in that.
Didn't I say C had a lot of citrus? It could be turkey.
You did. Yeah, actually, we did talk about that.
Yep.
But like
there you go.
That's crazy though. I'll be honest with you. I would. Okay. Well, no, like, so we just did like our end of the year buy. You picked Russell's 15 for whiskey of the year. We did the same thing, right? So, but I don't get that. I don't get any of that 15 year.
No, the citrus, I think. So here's the thing with Wild Turkey Rare Breed Rye is the most Sprite, lemon, lime, soda whiskey on the market. And I feel like that I've messed around with that whiskey. It takes over blends like that. And I think that's what will happen here. So, all right. So see, Andy Smith, great job, man. Thanks for submitting that blend. You were close, dude.
Yeah, that was really good.
It's so crazy to think that blend had a finish that fell off.
I know, right?
Letter D goes to the Alchemist Delight and Andy Bolgiano. Let me taste this again real quick. You said there's some Willet in here.
I thought pot still. Yeah, I was getting vibes of pot still.
Let's see. Cheesy gold foil is really easy to find for $1,400. Says Darren Clary. I want to buy another cheesy gold foil.
So
it's my favorite bourbon.
So this year I've put 5 bourbons down that I want to buy, and one of them is an 88, which is my birth year. Cheesy gold foil.
So I have an 89, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92 are very, very special years for Wild Turkey Dusties. So if you get in that range, you're good. My unicorn I'm trying to find right now is a 77, my birth year, Weller Antique 107 gold vein bottle. That's what I want.
Ooh, you're looking to spend that money.
Yes.
Is that a 100K bottle? That's a 100K bottle, right?
No. That bottle is about 1,400, 1,500.
No. I'm saying whenever you get 100K subscribers.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. If I get 100K subscribers, I would love to have that bottle.
You got to celebrate. Like whenever we broke 20K, I was like, Dave, I'm buying us something special. He's like, just do whatever.
I have a couple bottles in the bunker that I'm going to be cracking open when I hit 100K on a live stream for sure. So
that'd be awesome.
It'll happen. Okay. So Alchemist Delight, 116.2 proof, 2 parts Wild Turkey Rare Breed and Green River Full Proof, 1 part Russell's Reserve 13 New Riff 8-year bourbon, Pursuit double oaked bourbon, and George T. freaking Stag. What? What?
That is wild. You could have given me 1,000 guesses, and I mean, eventually I would have gotten there, but not towards the top.
Dude, that's crazy.
Wow. But you know what, though? Let me say that you said double oak.
Yeah, the Pursuit double oaked is in here.
Now go back
Pursuit
to the nose
double oak bourbon tastes like straight up birthday cake.
Yeah. Now go back to the nose of that, and you're like, oh, I see the double oak.
Yeah. I could see
wild.
that. All right, dude. People putting fucking monsters in here. Okay.
Good for you guys.
Letter E goes to Mark Emenecker with Evans Evolution. So let's find out what Mark blended for us. So this was the one that, again, it just felt like the blend was fighting itself a little bit. And in this one we have, we got some shit in here. Dear Lord. Holy crap. I don't even know what to
start from the tippy top.
All right, I'm going to whip through this real quick. These are all Elijah Craig barrel proof. All ECBP batches, 2 ounces. You ready?
Yeah.
A120, A121, B521, C921, A122, B522, C922, A123, B523, C923, A124, B524. 2 ounces of each of all of it.
So
is in this blend.
That's wild. First off, so right as you were getting ready to start, I was like, man, why does that feel like a weird, like Elijah Craig barrel proof pick? But I'm like, honestly, I still wouldn't have guessed that. But I
think the oak got a little bit funky on it, and it was a little bit hard to kind of figure that one out. That's correct, Mark. That's nuts. That's like an all ECBP infinity bottle.
Mm-hmm. It's actually like, so I've messed around again talking about, and I know you understand this, like whenever you start like playing around and you blend or whatever, you're like, well, what do I have a lot of? Well, Elijah Craig barrel proof, there's 3 a year, and you're just doing your channel long enough.
I just love how I'm like, put available bottles in there, and these guys are like dropping fucking George T. Stag and Russell's.
Hey,
shit. Look, it's your whiskey, whatever you want to do with it.
Hey, here's what I will argue. I just dropped a short today saying that I don't think Elijah Craig barrel proof's allocated anymore. Every time I go either on vacation or I go out of town, I can still find one of those somewhere.
Yeah, dude, I'm not crazy about the A125, dude. It tastes like Booker's to me, which is not great.
It's not the Booker's Reserve though, right?
Well, yeah, I would say it tastes like Booker's Reserve. It's got the sweetness, it's got some depth, it's got a little bit of oak, but it's missing that really rich, like Elijah Craiginess of that I love. And all right, last one, letter F. This was the one that again seemed like another blend trying to fight itself.
I agree. I still think, because this is the proofy one, right?
This was proofy one, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's in this. Yeah. This belongs to Eric Snyder with his PB&J Part 2, the sequel, American whiskey blend. So while I'm opening this up, the reason why we do PB&J is because I always ask every person that comes on, what is your ultimate peanut butter and jelly sandwich? The type of bread, the type of jam or jelly or preserves, whatever you like. Peanut butter, creamy, crunchy. Tell me what your ultimate PB&J is.
I'm so happy you asked this. So whenever I worked at the fire department, we had a commissary where we would buy, like everybody had to put in $1 per shift and you'd buy certain things. So let me tell you the perfect PB&J, because after a house fire, this is always solid. You get white bread, you toast it just a little bit. It doesn't need to be super crunchy, but just a little bit of crunch there, right?
Okay.
You do the PB&J. Bananas are optional. I don't prefer bananas, but then you get like the cinnamon and like sugar mixture on there. You spread it on there. It's perfect.
Oh, okay. That's a new take on a PB&J.
Perfect.
Like it. Okay. All right. So he writes, thank you for hosting this great event. Thank you for everything you do for the community. Sequels are always hard. They always promise bigger, faster, more action, yet most fall short of the original. There will always be exceptions to this, like Empire Strikes Back, Rocky 2, and Hot Shots Part 2. Not only is this a spiritual successor to last year's, my PB&J recipe, but it also pays homage to these incredible sequels. It brings more proof, more punch. It does definitely bring more proof and punch. More age, more oak. Here are the components of this blend. 5 parts. Larceny Barrel Proof B523. 4 parts. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523. 3 parts. Jefferson's Tropics, which I think is a very underrated bourbon.
Yeah, that's... Wow.
Yeah. 2 parts. 2 parts. Sagamore 8-year Rye Batch 2. 1 part Barrel Vantage. And 15... the whole blend is 15 parts. 118.2 proof. It actually drank hotter than that to me.
Yeah. It actually wow. That is
dude,
that's an interesting blend.
So that means the bourbons going through, or the blends, I should say, going through the next round are Old Gary Carter from Miro and Letter B with his donkey sauce. Nathan Jurgensen. Congratulations, you twos.
Yeah. Those are solid. Those are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you a question. Where do those two rank compared to everything else that you've tried so far?
Let me pull up the bracket real quick. So I'll say this. Jeffrey Wack and Darren Clary had absolute monster blends. On the other side of the bracket, I can't even fucking read what that says. Let me open it on my end here because I can't see. This way I could tell you exactly which blends are kind of in the running for me. Okay, I could see it here. All right, so on the left side of the bracket, Jeffrey Wack with his Cousins blend is a hitter. Darren Clary's Trilogy Trail Blender is a freaking hitter. But you also have Big Vic and Adam Hinson on that side too that did great blends. On the other side of the bracket, Bernie's blend from Adam Dorman. That one was pretty bold, but also very different, which I liked. Sofa King blend from Jeff Perkins. Trying to remember exactly what that tasted like. Darrell Stewart, who's the defending champion, he made it through with the Encore. Absolutely fantastic blend. I told him I think there's wild turkey in that blend, but we'll see. But then Wise Guy Stew with his amalgamation of Einstein. That blend, dude. If I had to pick like 4 blends right now, then I'm thinking like right now in my head that should be in the final 4. It would be Stew, maybe Darrell. Then on the other side, Darren Clary, Jeffrey Wack. But now this Nathan blend that I was thinking, I'm looking forward to it going against those other ones because I think this blend could do some damage too. So
I could see it.
We will see.
That's crazy.
We will see. It's getting close. It's getting tight in the pants. We'll see what happens.
Really quick, before.
Is he frozen? He froze on me. Zach, unfreeze.
It was asking about what.
Oh,
we there?
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
All right.
Before what?
There. Best Dusty Pours over at Neat, or what was like my top ones or whatever. Here's what I would tell you. Anything Dusty Turkey, you're pretty much going to knock it out of the park, and you can find them somewhat reasonable. I would tell you Christmas Rye. If you can find a Christmas Rye bottle there.
Yep.
You got to have at least one. Some people will tell you it's overrated. I don't think it is. We can discuss that later.
Hey man, are you willing to sell one of those multiple Four Roses picks you have? Those Father's Day releases? I will pay you happily in secondary to get one of those bottles.
So
Jesus Christ.
Here's the thing. First off, let me say this.
Unless you're are you saving that like for your kids or something?
Well, so long story short, me and the boys, and whenever I say boys, there's like 10 to 15 of us. We all hunt bourbon together. We're in a big chat here locally. And we always talk about like doing this or whatever. One of the things we're going to do eventually is do a big Father's Day pour where we take all the barrels, and we have all the barrels. and we're going to crack them all open, try them all, and see which barrel is the best.
Can I be invited to that party?
Like like I am so lucky. That's the shit we do. But if you're in town, yeah, sure, go ahead and come
awesome,
by.
Man. All right. Let me know when that happens.
Sure. But here's the other two things I would tell you. Look for pre-Heaven Hill Fire. Just ask them about it. They normally have stuff down there. It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I've already bought 3 bottles of pre-Fire Heaven Hill from them.
It's crazy. Like
it's so good, and it's actually pretty reasonable for delicious whiskey.
I agree. Like some of it's like $15-20 just try on the bar, and you're like, how is this like $15-20? Crazy. Yep. And then here's the sleeper that nobody talks about. Get one of those early 1990s Blantons. And I know what everybody's going to say. It's like, oh, Tater, whatever.
Oh, no, man. I've had, I don't know if you've had Dominic on your channel yet. Dominic G. Yeah. Talk to him. You wanted to talk about blends. Mm-hmm. He's got some of the most incredible blends I've ever tasted. And he has ruined blends for me forever.
Agreed.
Because the blends that he has, like some of the older bottlings, the overseas bottlings that he has, the special editions,
the honey barrel,
that we will never see or taste. Never. It's like that is what I wish Blanton's was for us, but it's not, unfortunately.
Yeah, so. No, 1,000%. And yeah, I think those early 1990 bottles are from anywhere from like 14 to 16 years old. Yep. It's just older age whiskey.
It's crazy, man. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely with you. I'm probably in the market to buy another Cheesy Gold foil. I said I was like, I'm not buying Dusty's anymore, but now that my Cheesy Gold foil is getting a little bit low, I got the tube right back there. It's getting a little low, and I kind of want more. And I really, really want to find that 77 Gold Vein bottle. I'm in the market for. So every time it pops up on like unicorn auctions, it's always like a 79. It's like just a couple years off. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, give me a 77. So, all right, guys. With that said, Zach, tell everybody where to find you real quick.
So just pretty much look up Bourbon Kingdom on any of the socials. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok for however long that is, and of course, YouTube. So, just check us out. We're on
guys, go check out Bourbon Kingdom. And again, really appreciate everybody watching tonight. Again, thank you so much for the support. Hitting 95K. We're 5,000 away from 100K. Going to be coming out with a couple of fun videos here tomorrow, I think, and either tomorrow or Friday. And then we're recording a pretty fun video this weekend, which should be pretty cool. So hopefully that will help me get there pretty quick. And then on top of that, we have one more round here in Blendageddon before we get to the Sweet Six on either side of the bracket. Bruce Russell, remember, Bruce Russell will be here next week live on the channel. It's going to be a great conversation, and maybe even my man Rarebird in the chat might make an appearance here. So tune in. Thanks again to Zach for coming on from Bourbon Kingdom. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Cheers, and I'll see you next week right here with Bruce Russell on the Mash and Drum. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.